boys and girls, welcome back to our science lesson. For today's experiment, I have two volunteers helping me out. We have my husband, Benton.
Hello.
And we have Mrs. Hainsworth's husband, Charles.
Hey guys.
All right, today Benton and Charles are going to be a certain type of animal, but I'm going to talk about that in just a second. So whenever the weather starts getting colder, we see birds migrating. If you think about the videos from earlier this week, you might remember that migration is whenever animals move from one place to another during certain parts of the year so they can survive. Although we do see some birds here in Danville during the wintertime, a lot of birds do migrate or go to a warmer place. The purpose of today's experiment is to learn why some birds migrate in the wintertime. For this experiment, we have a few materials that I want to introduce to you before we get started. We have two bins. In each of these bins, we have some pipe cleaners. The pipe cleaners in this experiment represent the worms. Charles and Benton are going to be the birds for this experiment. We are going to see the difference between birds finding food in the warm summer months from birds finding food in the wintertime and see if it is the same or if it is different. Is it harder for them to find food in the winter or is it easier? So I wonder what types of things might happen to the food supply in the wintertime. Can you guys make a hypothesis or make a guess of what might happen to our food supply of worms in the wintertime?
They would probably be more difficult to get to because they could be covered in snow.
Do you have the same hypothesis or a different hypothesis?
Well, I think that could happen, and maybe do they go deeper underground to stay warmer during the winter?
Good thinking. Thinking like a scientist. Both of my volunteers. Excellent job. All right, so Benton, you are going to get a pair of tweezers, and Charles, you are going to get a pair of tweezers. Those are going to be your bird beaks. Would you like to test them out before we get started?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait, no.
We were testing.
Oh.
Just a test.
No, I meant just like, flick them like tongs. You know how like whenever you have tongs, you have to like, okay. So Charles and Benton are going to use their beaks in just a second to try and find the worms in the bucket during the summer months. Now, the only rule is they can only use their beaks. They cannot use their other hand. Mrs. Hainsworth is off to the side. She is going to time Charles and Benton for 10 seconds to see how many worms they can find with their bird beaks. Miss Hainsworth, are you ready?
I'm ready, guys.
All right, let's get started with our timer in 3, 2, 1, go. 6 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, stop. All right, real quick, let's see. How many worms did you get, Benton?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
All right, good job. How many worms did you get, Charles?
I got 8. I was a hungry bird.
Good job, Charles. All right, Charles and Benton, put your worms back in your bins, please, because we have one more step for this experiment. We saw how easy it was for them to find food during the summer, but now we're switching our seasons, and it is wintertime. And in the wintertime, we often get a lot of snow. So we're using cotton balls to show the snow in the winter.
I can already tell this is going to be hard.
It's only going to snow a little bit. All right. Before we start this part of the experiment, can you describe what your ground looks like now?
It's just completely white. I can't see any food.
Covered in snow. I can't see a single worm.
All right. Well, I hope you have some good luck this time around because Mrs. Hainsworth is going to time you again for 10 seconds to see how many worms you can find this time around. Remember, you can only use your beaks. You cannot use your other hands. So you have 10 seconds in the snow to try and find your worms. Ready,
Ready?
set, bananas. I didn't say go. Take those beaks back out.
We're
Make sure that we
That was the
are.
magic word.
putting bananagrams.
No. When I say go, you need to get started.
Okay.
Ready, set, go. 7, 6 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop. Seems like we got a lot of snow, but not a lot of worms. All right, Benton, can you count up your worms for us, please?
I managed 2 worms
And quite a bit of snow.
and a little snow.
All right. Charles, how many did you get this time
I
around?
got 3 worms and 6 pieces of snow.
Okay, so it seems like it was a little bit harder for you guys to find your worms this time around. Am I correct?
Yes.
It was.
Yes. So what does that tell us about our birds that migrate? Well, it shows us that some birds have a really hard time finding food in the snow, while others might find it easy. So the birds that migrate, they need warmer temperatures in order to find food to help them to survive. So migration is a really important adaptation for some birds. And remember, an adaptation is a special skill that animals have to help them to survive.